First of all, if you have never heard of the Great Learning, or even if you have never heard of Confucius, that's okay. This is a simple introduction into one of the most classic pieces of literature in the world. Okay. Okay. Now, are you guys ready?
Yes.
Okay. So, before we take a look at the Great Learning, let's talk about one of the most popular franchises, movie franchises of all time. Okay, and this has a connection with the Great Learning. Okay, and that movie franchise is The Karate Kid. Okay, The Karate Kid was one of the most popular movies of the 1980s. It's the story of Daniel LaRusso, the Karate Kid, a smart alecky teenager who gets bullied at his new school until he meets up with the karate master, Mr. Miyagi, from who he is imparted the martial art of karate and the wisdom therein. It was on TV all the time when I was growing up, and along with the sequel. So there's part 2, part 3, and then there was the next Karate Kid, which came out in the 1990s. It was a bust, okay? And then in 2010, there was a wonderful remake with Jackie Chan, okay? It was, okay, so that was more recent. And then in the last, I think it's 3 years, there is a franchise, a TV show called Cobra Kai. And this Cobra Kai is right now currently the most popular show on Netflix. So why is this franchise so successful? Okay, so it teaches us a simple yet powerful message. Okay, so what is the message? So if we go back, okay, to the original, and we can see on the cover art.
Hi everyone, my name is Kevin. Today I want to show you how you can record.
Okay, sorry. Okay, he taught him the secret to karate lies in the mind and the heart, not in the hands. Okay, so this is the moral lesson at the core of this super franchise. Okay, now this has a connection with the Great Learning, and I'll explain that. Now, first, an interesting note on the origins of karate. When we think of karate, we think of it as quintessentially Japanese. So something like sumo or sushi, or recently Shiba Inu dogs. Okay, but actually there was a name change in the 1930s. Okay, that was in the 1930s. That was Imperial Japan. Okay, so if we look at the current kanji, the current characters, we have the words empty hand Dao, or the way of the empty hand fighting. Okay, but it was not originally written this way. The original characters were actually these characters here. So this was the original kanji name of karate, and so these characters read Chinese hand, the way of Chinese hand fighting. So Chinese, Chinese, if you don't know, are also referred to as the Tang people. So that the Tang dynasty was one of the great periods in Chinese history. And okay, so therefore, when we see this, we can actually find out that in fact, karate and the wisdom of karate has its origin in China. Okay, so now in part two of Karate Kid, Daniel follows Mr. Miyagi back to Okinawa, where he gets introduced to the family dojo. Okay, on the walls are 2 banners. Okay, Daniel asks what they mean, and Mr. Miyagi responds. Okay, so there's 2. Number 1, number 2. He says, rule number 1. Okay, karate is for defense only. Okay, and then Daniel, he thinks, so what about rule number 2? What is rule number 2? And then Daniel says, Mr. Miyagi says, rule number 2, first learn rule number 1. Okay, a very famous line from the movie. Now, okay, so Now, so most of us, and so Daniel and most of us who can't read kanji, the viewer, are never explicitly told the meaning of rule number 2. But from what happens in these stories and in these movies, we can figure out that rule number 2 is to first right your mind and heart. Okay, so this is from Cobra Kai, the popular Netflix, I guess it's kind of a sequel. Okay, so, and if you look closely, you can, there's actually a mistake. So let's see, you can see the original here. This is from the Karate Kid Part 2, and in Cobra Kai, they made a mistake. So if you look closely, the mistake is actually, the banners are flipped. Okay, so actually in Chinese and in Japanese, they read from right to left. Okay, so just a small tidbit. So rule number 2 is actually an important line originating from the Great Learning. Okay, so the Great Learning is the Confucian text that became increasingly increasingly popular and promoted by later Chinese philosophers. It was eventually put together with the Analects, the Book of Mencius, and the Doctrine of the Mean to become one of the 4 books. Okay, so as Lecturer Zheng mentioned, the 4 books. Okay, the Analects, the Book of Mencius, and the Doctrine of the Mean. Okay, so here we have the 4 books. Okay, this was a compilation. And another note, the name Confucius and the name Mencius, okay, are actually Latin transliterations of the original Chinese. That's why they end in the prefix "-us", okay, C-I-U-S. So just like Julius Caesar, okay. This book here is a Latin translation of the 4 books by Jesuit priests. Okay, it was first printed in 1687. It was dedicated to the Sun King of France, the famous Louis XIV. And a copy of it was actually given to him in person by one of the translators. This compilation of the 4 books in Latin was actually read by many Enlightenment thinkers, including Voltaire, who actually had a painting, believe it or not, of Confucius in his study room. Now, the Great Learning is the Confucian blueprint for self-improvement and positively transforming the world. Okay, Mr. Miyagi would have been familiar with it as it had been taught in Chinese, Korean, and Japanese schools for over 1,000 years. Okay, so this is what a bamboo scroll version would have looked like. Okay, so we can see it's actually not that long. Okay, and the short main section of the Great Learning is attributed to Confucius, while the much longer commentary section is attributed to his disciple and heir to the Confucian lineage, Zhengzi. So who is one of the forefathers of the Zheng family lineage. Okay, and here we can see Lego Confucius, and this character here is supposed to be Zhengzi, even though he looks a little bit like Zhuge Liang. But I'm assuming most non-Chinese don't know, won't be able to recognize the difference. Okay, now, now let's take a look at the contents of the Great Learning. Okay, so the lofty goal of Confucius was to bring about a world of harmony through the fostering of enlightening virtue in the people. Okay, so let me, sorry, one second. Okay, so let me find, okay, so here we actually have a very detailed description of what Confucius envisioned as a world of harmony. In Chinese, it's called 大同, or the grand unity. Okay, so let's read it together. So we'll read it after. And while reading it, we can compare and contrast this ideal world of harmony with the current world that we are living in. Okay, so when the great Tao, the perfect order prevails, the world is like a commonwealth state shared by all, not a dictatorship. Virtuous, worthy, wise, and capable people are chosen as leaders. Honesty and trust are promoted and good neighborliness cultivated. All people respect and love their own parents and children, as well as the parents and children of others. The aged are cared for until death. Adults are employed in jobs that make full use of their abilities, and children are nourished, educated, and fostered. Widows and widowers, orphans and the old without children, the disabled and the diseased are all well taken care of. Every man and woman has an appropriate role to play in society and in the family. They hate to see resources lying idle or cast away, yet they do not necessarily keep them for themselves. They hate not to make the use of their abilities, yet they do not necessarily work for their own self-interests. Thus, intrigues and conspiracies do not arise, and thievery and robbery do not occur. Therefore, doors never need be locked. And this is the ideal world, a perfect world of equality, fraternity, harmony, welfare, and justice. So this is the world called 大同, the world of harmony. Okay, and this translation is from Master Huang Shiming. Okay, he's stationed in Los Angeles. So how does this match up with the world we live in now? Okay, I think in some regards, we are on the right track, but we are still a long, long way off. When you can go outside and not have to lock your doors or windows, that's when you'll know, okay, we are in the world of harmony. Now, okay, so the Great Learning is a blueprint, so there's a logical order. Okay, so the goal of Confucius and his followers is the world of harmony. So that's at the top. So we have to reach the top here. Now, what do we need to achieve this world of harmony? Okay, first we'll need good governance and order amongst nations. We need great men and women to be role models for the rest of us, to enlighten and guide us. Okay, so in the Analects, there is a very famous saying of Confucius. It says, governing by the power of virtue can be compared to the pole star, which remains fixed in place. Oh, sorry. That's weird. Okay. Fixed in place while all the other stars orbit respectfully around it. Okay, this is telling us that the most important task of a leader is to set a shining example to the people around him or her with their enlightening virtue. When you walk the walk, people will gravitate towards you and support you. But if you just talk the talk, then they will quickly lose their confidence in you, and they will question your credibility and commitment. Leaders set the standards for everybody else to follow, and we have to hold them accountable if they don't live up to them. Okay, so that's the step number two. So first was to get world harmony. So that's the step. World of harmony is first predicated on having proper governance and order. Okay, now. Okay, so what about governance and proper governance and order? Okay, so this requires excellent, virtuous leaders. So how do you become one? Okay, so if you're gonna do that, you're going to have to create unity in your family. Okay, so family unity is predicated on filial piety, respect between siblings, and kindness for each other. Okay, so filial piety, you may not have heard of this word before, but it's actually been around for 200-300 years. Filial piety is a translation for the Chinese virtue of xiao, which can be thought of as doing a good job of honoring and respecting your parents. Zhengzi was renowned for filial piety, and he actually wrote a book about filial piety called the Filial Piety Classic. Okay, it's called the Xiao Jing in Chinese. It's a very famous book. Many children learn it. Okay, now there are many stories of great acts of filial piety throughout Chinese history. Okay, a popular historical story was made into a very famous movie. Okay, can you guess which one it is? So take a look at this picture and can you guess which story this is that was made into a very popular movie? Okay, I'll give you a few seconds. Okay, and the answer is Mulan. Okay, now Mulan joins the army so that her father is not does not have to, and she not only saves his life, but plays a crucial role in saving the kingdom. Okay, at least according to the movie. Okay, I don't know if that's the same in real life, but okay. And actually, okay, there are many stories in Western culture dealing with themes of filial piety. Okay, so can you think of any other popular movies that have the underlying theme of filial piety? Okay, I'll give you another example. Okay, The Lion King. Okay, this story is also Confucian in nature. We see how Simba's love for his father inspires him to save the kingdom, and we can also see the chaos that ensues when you have an unvirtuous king like Scar who puts personal gain over sibling respect. Okay, so sibling respect is another virtue. So we have xiao, filial piety, and sibling respect is ti. So that's another virtue in Chinese culture. Okay, now sometimes it's not easy to fulfill the virtues of filial piety. Okay, honoring and respecting your parents and sibling respect. Okay, there's actually a remarkable true story from history about a very, very large family. Very large family. Okay, how large? Okay, this family had 9 generations living together, and this is true. Okay, this is not made up, not fabricated. There was a family with 9 generations living under one roof. Okay, so mostly in Chinese culture, they think having 3 generations living together is ideal, but this is 9 generations. And so again, this was in the Tang Dynasty, which was about over 1,000 years ago. If you can do the math and figure out how you get 9 generations together, how that would happen, okay, please do so, because I'm not sure. But this story was remarkable and well-renowned in its day, and the emperor invited the family elder to the imperial palace in Chang'an, the capital, which is present-day Xi'an. Okay, and so he invited him there to congratulate him. And this elder was, okay, he must have been 100 or more than 100, and he was very frail and he couldn't speak. And okay, so we're not sure how old he was, but okay. But so since he couldn't speak, okay, so he wrote down his secrets to family unity with the emperor. Okay, so what he did was he wrote down one character, and the character that he wrote down was this character here. Okay, so when we see this character, we can see on the top there's a knife and the blade of a knife, and it's over a heart. Okay, a knife carving into a heart. Okay, and it means tolerance. Okay, so the key was to have tolerance for each other, and I guess what he was trying to say a way we can interpret it is that this love endures. Okay, so we need to have a strong sense of love to endure these hardships that we encounter when we try to unify the family. Okay, so that is the third thing. So that's okay. So proper governance and order is predicated on family unity. Okay, so that's number 3. Now let's look at the next one. So how do we develop filial piety or sibling respect? Where does this tolerance come from? How do you do this? Well, first you have to refine and temper yourself. From kings and queens to common folk, for all alike, refining oneself is like the roots of a tree. If the roots are a mess, it's not possible for the rest of the tree and branches to flourish. And I should point out one other thing, and that is, okay, so we're talking about family, but in ancient times, the family was much broader and had a much larger definition than today. So today we kind of have nuclear families, which are just parents and kids. But back then they had families with tons of relatives living together. So it could be also thought of as a community. Okay, your local community, your friends, your family. Okay, the people who are around you. Okay, now the sport of choice in ancient China was archery. Okay, I'm not sure how many of you have actually practiced archery. If you have, that's pretty cool. I hear it is still popular in Korea. And there was an archery club in my high school, but I never took part in it. But in hindsight, I'd have liked to. Okay, so because first of all, ancient archery had competitions had a lot of etiquette. And because we're probably not so familiar with ancient archery, we have a modern sport we can talk about with a lot of similarities to it. And that sport is, golf. Okay, now golfers take turns trying to hit the ball into the hole with the least amount of strokes. If you don't win, you don't blame the other guys because it's all about yourself. So should one miss the target, if one misses the hole or the target, the bullseye, okay, he seeks for the cause within himself. And that is a major principle in the Confucian philosophy. Seek within, okay, don't blame others, seek within and correct what's wrong within yourself, and then you can correct the environment which you live in, okay? Okay, so Confucius once remarked, okay, and this is also from The Great Learning, okay? It's a part of the commentary, okay? There are few men in the world who love and at the same time know the bad qualities of the object of their love, or those who dislike and yet know the excellences of the object of their dislike. Then he goes on to say, alas, as the ancient proverb goes, okay, and there were, just to make clear, before Confucius, there were other ancients, okay, other ancient philosophers before his time, okay? And so, alas, as the ancient proverb goes, few recognize the faults of their own children. Few farmers recognize the great yield of the crops they produce. Okay, so it's a little abstruse, and the farming metaphor is outdated, okay, for most of us, but I think it is still absolutely true today. So what is this ancient proverb about farming trying to tell us, okay? Focus on your own crops and not your neighbors, not Mr. Jones's, not the people who are around you. Focus on your own crops, or else you'll never realize that you actually have enough. Okay? If we don't do that, then it leads to greed and selfishness and all kinds of disaster. Okay, now world of harmony, proper governance, family unity. Okay, number 4. Okay, self-refinement. And how do we refine ourselves? Okay, so we have to right our hearts and minds. This is rule 2 from the Karate Kid. Okay, righting our hearts and minds. This is the most important teaching that Mr. Miyagi imparted on Daniel. And this is the teaching that is at the crux of the whole Karate Kid philosophy. And one of the reasons it's endured, the film franchise's popularity has endured till today. Okay, an interesting fact is that in ancient China, they thought that the heart was the center of cognition. That's why you often get a heart-mind translation. Okay, now, we can't even enjoy a good cup of tea or life's simplest pleasures without serenity in our heart and mind. Do you agree? Okay, so just think about things we do every day that we enjoy. If we don't have serenity, if something is bothering us, if something's worrying us, if something is making us angry, or if something is on our nerves, we don't have serenity and we don't enjoy those things. Okay, so when your heart and mind have been riled up or are troubled by worry or are consumed by desire or with anxiety, your heart and mind will not be present in the moment. You look, but you can't see. You listen, but you can't hear. You eat, but you can't taste. This is from The Great Learning. Okay, so one of the most famous lines Mr. Miyagi tells Daniel about is the importance of maintaining the right mindset and heart. Never put passion over principle. Even if you win, you lose. Right heart and right. Okay. Oh, sorry. Right heart and right mind. Okay. Now, how do we right our hearts and minds? So we must have sincere intentions. Sincere intentions. Righting our hearts and minds is predicated on having sincere intentions. Okay, we must not deceive ourselves and not be hypocritical. What we believe and what we do, our thoughts and our actions must align together as one. Example, imagine you are walking home late at night, no one's around, and you see a pot of gold coins. Okay, what will you do? You see the pot of gold coins? What will you do? Okay, and okay, just think about it. Now, I remember when I was in high school, I found a $50 bill on the sidewalk outside a YMCA. Okay, $50 was a lot. Maybe it is still a lot for a high school student. I remember I told my friend, okay, who was with me, and he was like, oh, that's awesome, $50. Okay, and he said, let's go rent a limo and get a ride to the shopping mall. And we thought about it for a long time. Okay, should we do that or not? And then ultimately, we decided to hand it in to the front desk at the YMCA. After a couple of weeks, I went back to the YMCA, and nope, someone reclaimed it. So I've still never had a limo ride in my life. Okay, and why can't you borrow money from a leprechaun? Because leprechauns are always a little short. Okay. Okay. Now, and also from the Bible, there's a parable that teaches us about the importance of having sincere intentions. Okay, it's the parable of the Good Samaritan. The priest is in a hurry to go give a sermon. Along the way, he sees a suffering man, and he says, sorry, and that he's in too much of a hurry to help. Okay, next, later on, a Samaritan comes, and the Samaritans at that time were suppressed minorities, looked down upon by others. And so he comes along and he saves the man's life. To this day, we still call people who help out strangers after this man Good Samaritans. Good Samaritans. Okay. That is sincere intentions. Now, how do we make our intentions sincere? Okay. We have to extend our knowledge and understanding through ge'u. And ge'u, what is ge'u? Well, it's a difficult Chinese word to translate because there is debate as to what its true meaning actually is. Okay, and I'll explain that. Unfortunately, as the received text, so the text that we got that was passed along for generations, from generation to the next generation, was being passed down throughout the years. This crucial commentary on Go was lost. Okay, so, oh, sorry. Just like that, one or two of the bamboo slips was lost, and it led to considerable debate, okay, about what Go and expanding our knowledge and understanding actually is. So the most common translation of Go is you'll see it as the investigations of things, and this comes from the interpretation of a Chinese prominent Chinese Neo-Confucian scholar Zhu Xi. Okay, and here he is here.
Hello.
Okay.
It's me.
Okay, and his idea was everything has its principles. Through the investigation of these things, we then expand our knowledge and understanding. So everything has its principles, everything has its dharma, and we have to find that dharma, and it will lead us to the dharma that is within us, that is part of our true nature, and will guide us to a moral life. Okay, I call this the Benjamin Franklin path of refinement. Okay, now Benjamin Franklin was a genius by any standards. He was successful in science, business, and public service. Okay, he was an outstanding intellectual. He impacted history, and his face is on the U.S. $100 bill. I think that he was of the same ilk as Zhu Xi, and he even came up with a list of 13 virtues. And he put it into a checklist, these 13 virtues into a checklist to make sure he followed them every day. Okay, and just to show you these 13 virtues, okay, temperance, silence, order, resolution, frugality, industry, sincerity, justice, moderation, cleanliness, tranquility, chastity, humility. Okay, the 13 virtues. Okay, now later on, in the next dynasty following the next dynasty following the Song dynasty, the Ming dynasty, there was another famous Chinese scholar, Neo-Confucian scholar, Wang Yangming, and he did not entirely agree with this interpretation of Gu. He was influenced by an earlier Neo-Confucian called Lu Xiangshan, and okay, Wang Yangming. Okay, he believed there are endless things to investigate and learn in this world. Besides, not everyone has this capacity for learning. Not everyone has the IQ of Benjamin Franklin. Now, Go is the removal of inner impediments that block us from fulfilling what our conscience, our true nature guides and tells us to do. Okay, so this room is a mess, okay? Okay, have you ever heard of Danshari? Okay, Danshari is the Japanese name, but actually the Chinese name is 断舍离, okay? It's quite a popular trend that started in the East and has taken hold in the West a little bit, okay? It's all about bettering your living environment in order to change your life. You have to recognize things that are messing up the chi or the positive energy of where you live, refuse them, dispose of them, get rid of them, and separate from them. Okay, let's press the button. Okay, now my grade 7 teacher once said that he could know your personality by knowing the conditions of the bedroom that you lived in. Okay, and now when you do this, when you refuse, dispose, separate yourself from these negative things in your, not just in your environment, but in your mind, your heart and mind, I think that can also be considered go, okay? And I think that is more in line with the definition of, the definition of Wang Yangmi. Okay, now, so about go, I think we can say that maybe both are right, okay, in a way. Both of them are right, but it's hard to say, and it's a personal opinion, okay? Now, what about the Karate Kid? Okay, can it give us any insight into go? Now, the turning point in the movie where Daniel finally comes round to understand Mr. Miyagi is this scene. Okay, this is the scene where, well, throughout the movie, okay, instead of teaching him karate, Mr. Miyagi makes Daniel do chores, and one of those chores is waxing his car. So there's a famous line, wax on, wax off. Initially, Daniel dismisses this mundane task as a waste of time, but the importance of what he has been doing eventually clicks with him. The importance of these mundane tasks and the repetition of these mundane tasks, even though at first he doesn't want to do them, but through this repetition, through this training, it eventually clicks with him, and it eventually clicks with us, the viewer. Oh, we get it, okay? And that, I think, is an example of go, a kind of more concrete example that we can use to understand what it is. Okay, so let's review the 8 steps. Okay, so the first step, go. Okay, the second step, expanding knowledge and understanding. Okay, the third step, sincere intentions. The fourth one, right heart and mind. The fifth one, self-refinement. The sixth one, family unity. The seventh one, governance and order. Okay, proper governance and order. And finally, that leads us to the world of harmony, okay, which is the goal that we have to attain. Okay, when we follow the path of the great learning, we develop this enlightening virtue that renews the people, like a sparrow instinctively knows where to rest. We know where to abide. We must abide our will in the highest good, which our Roman friends called summum bonum. Okay. When you know that abode, you'll have direction. This will bring you serenity. Okay, we talked about serenity earlier. And then you'll get stability, and then mental clarity. You'll then be able to attain results. You'll be able to attain results. Now, a little bit about Confucius, okay, before we finish. Okay, so Confucius was born around 550 BCE in the middle of the Zhou dynasty. The founders of the Zhou dynasty were his heroes, his role models, but they had put an end to the tyranny of the Shang dynasty, brought peace to the land, and established etiquette for future generations to follow in order to maintain the stability that they had won. They were able to do this to transform the land and the ways of the people, not only through their military prowess, but through their enlightening virtue. In the eyes of Confucius, they were the paragons of this enlightening virtue, and for him and future generations to emulate. And for us, Confucius and Zhengzi are paragons of this virtue for us to follow. Now, unfortunately, as time passed, the descendants of those founding fathers of this royal lineage of the Zhou dynasty gradually lost their way, being led astray by personal gain, selfishness, and greed. Confucius emerged at this crucial point as China was on the verge of descending into turmoil and war. His answer for repelling this disastrous outcome was to reestablish enlightening virtue in the hearts and minds of the rulers and their subjects. And that is why we read and learn and study the great learning, to reestablish this enlightening virtue in us so we can get this world of harmony. Okay, and so thanks, Confucius. Okay, and thanks everyone for listening. If I made any mistakes, I ask for forgiveness. Thank you very much. That is the end of my sharing.
Thank you very much, Derek.
Thank you. Okay, and if anybody has anything that you'd like to share first, that's okay.
Derek, I'd just like to share with you something. Okay, Confucius, you're absolutely correct. Confucius at that time initially emphasized the importance of restoring music, the politeness and the music. Why? Because politeness indirectly hint the behaviors of each individual. Not just about the ruler, but of course, as the ruler has to take more responsibilities, of course. And the music, what about the music? Music is about respect, orders, and created variance, create harmonies by respecting differentiations in between. So, but to bring them, orchestrate a harmony together. So if you, if you play Chinese chess, it's same as I don't know about the Western chess because I haven't played for a long time. But if you play Chinese xiangqi, the Chinese chess, you will know every role has its own responsibility and duties. In Chinese culture, we emphasize more about duty and obligations before we talk about rights. Now, when we see the education in the world today, most of them talk about rights, freedom, but without talking about own responsibility, own duties, and own obligation to the society, to the family, to themselves. So we see a lot of people suffer from the stress because they always hope other people can help them to find a way out without knowing they have to find the lights inside to get themselves out.
Okay, thank you very much for that sharing. I think actually I learned a lot from that as well. I do know that etiquette is etiquette is a very important thing, especially in Chinese culture. But etiquette, I think we also have etiquette. We also do have a lot of etiquette in Western culture, but we don't really recognize it as etiquette. We talk more about it as respect. So when we say, we don't really say, oh, you don't follow the etiquette, but we actually say, oh, you don't, oh, that's disrespectful or that's respectful or something like that. But actually we do have it. Like we do have etiquette. Like for example, at the end of a sports match, okay, people will shake hands or whatever. That's a form of etiquette. Or people say thank you, or people say you're welcome. That's also a form of etiquette. If people don't do that, we don't talk about, oh, you didn't follow the etiquette. We just say, oh, you're disrespectful, or you're or something like that. But actually we have it. It's just not as recognized, and maybe it's not as codified as in Chinese. But thank you very much for that sharing. Would anybody else like to share something?
Anyone from UK?
Anybody from the UK?
So everyone, please turn on your camera and then. So everyone, please turn on the camera and we can discuss and then we can share about our ideas. So anyone from UK want to share or any questions?
Gareth, would you like to share
No,
your thoughts?
I have no questions really. I'm just here to listen at this moment.
Alex
okay.
from Bangkok. Alex, would you like to contribute a little bit of your thought? Alex? Oh,
Hello.
Joey, you're on? Yes.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, hi, Alex.
Should I say?
Hello.
Good evening. Hi. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So thank you, Derek. Very interesting. A very interesting presentation. Yes, I think it's just my humble opinion. Yeah, I think this all these old guides for behavior, I think they are very important from my point of view, not as something to be obsessed with, but as some way to help us direct what if we are not sure exactly what is good behavior or not. I think it's always good to have some guiding posts and what I think is maybe some people obsess too much about following specific rules, and then they lose the big picture, which is that this is to help you be a better person, not just to do something just because you are forced to, or because it's your obligation. But sorry, this is my opinion.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. I understand. Actually, I don't think it shouldn't be taken as that way, as like forcing someone or some people to do something. I think it's more of just a way to unlock our true nature. I think I should have explained it that way. A way to unlock our true nature within us. And so it's just like, and actually, so the great learning was used used in for teaching, like, and it was rote memorized a lot, but the teaching I think is quite universal. And again, it's the key here is to unlock the virtue of our true nature within us. And it's just giving us the steps to do that.
Thank you. I
Thank
think
you.
I do agree with Alex as well. For my humble opinion is that I think if we want to reach the 大同 in Chinese, which is the world harmony, sometimes like we have no idea how we're going to achieve that, because if we alone is a great person or a kind person, or you keep helping each other and people like you and everything, but it doesn't make the world become harmony, because it's you alone who doing that. But in order for us all to reach the world harmony or something like that, we need everyone to do the same thing. So that is it's not the fundamental. What I'm trying to say is that there might be some guidelines or some guidance, that the very basic thing that all of us can do. So that is the 8 steps that Zheng Zi trying to tell us in order for us to, or Confucianism, in order for us to achieve the world peace or world harmony, the 8 steps that we could do. The first thing is, if you want to become the world harmony, you need to start from your country. Before you start from your country, you need to start from your family. Before you start from your family, you need to start from yourself, this and that. So you cannot just come out, so I'm the good person, I want to make the whole world good person. So no one is going to equal to that or something like that. It's very, very hard action, I would say. Like just now, Derek had shared with us a very what do you call that? I think his sharing is about, how we can achieve that one by one. Like we started with the filial piety. We started with filial piety also, how we can do as a filial piety, like for example, devotion for the family and respect to ourselves, our own parents. And then after that, you can respect to other old people like your own parents as well. So we start from our own heart, and then we expand it to our surroundings, and then we try to give the balance and affect the whole society, and then teach your surrounding to be good, doing good, like not stealing or not doing harmful thing to other people, this and that. That is a wide thing. To me, it's just like a little bit like a GPS, guiding through us. The first step, what you need to do. The second step, what you need to do. The third one, what you need to do, and etc. So we have guidelines. Okay, do this, do this, do this. Because not everyone have the same education background. Not everyone have the same thought, or not everyone have the same smart, same brain or smart like some certain people. So for the scientist, you need to talk differently. For the farmer, you need to talk a very layman, word or things like that. So in the vast majority or the society like that is very, very difficult. So that's why it start from the very simple and easy to understand one. This is my humble opinion. I don't know about other people. Tan, would you like to share your view as well? Yes, it's you.
I'm just saying that nothing to share. Actually, you have mentioned all those already. So the other thing is, I want to add what you have mentioned is about people do have expectations, and whatever Derek has mentioned, we expect other people to treat us as that. So instead of expectation, why we start from ourselves? That is what I want to share.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think I did kind of mention that as well. I think that's a pivotal or crucial point, is that we have to ask ourselves before we ask other people. We have to and this is one of the crucial ideas of principles of the Confucian philosophy. Okay.
Joey, would you like to share? Sorry. Anyone want to say something? Joey, would you like to share some thoughts?
Yes, please. I would like to share something, but you can only hear my voice because I have some difficulty on my camera today. My laptop doesn't function well. Can you hear me though?
Yes, we hear you well.
Okay. First of all, I would like to say that thank you to lecturer Derek and the team. You have organized your PowerPoint and everything very well organized. I really like that, and I'm very thankful to be here. And my sharing of the day is regarding to this topic is how do I describe my humble? Is I think everybody mentions that already, include yourselves, Lecturer Chen, Alex, and Ajahn Chan. You know, end of the story, we have to start from ourselves, right? We respect others, we respect our family, our brother, our siblings, and even our colleague at work. You know, we cut down our own aggressive behavior, reduce our ego, self-centered, and we respect others. We share, we love them. And one thing that lecturer Derek mentioned is serenities. I think this is a very good word because quite often the material world sometimes too busy, especially the technology is keeping us going crazy very fast, you know, but we cannot find peace in our own mind. So sometimes I step back and thinking like, oh, I kind of tired running after this all technology. So what can I do? So I step back and pray many times. And this is what I've been seeking for, looking for. I mean, I really like this lecture today. So yes, I will keep continuous helping other people as much as I can. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening, everyone.
Thank you, Joey.
Thank you, Joey. Actually, I think these ideas from the Great Learning, I think actually, even if we haven't read the Great Learning before, we kind of inherently we know them. I think it's just wisdom that's quite universal. Maybe we just don't have it written in this way with these steps, but I'm sure that in one way or another we all have kind of we kind of unfeel and have understand it, comprehended. Yeah. Okay. How about?
So we saw the friends from the New York last time. Would you like to share?
John from New York.
Hello.
Hi, John.
Hello. No, I have nothing to say.
Okay, thanks.
I'm sorry.
No problem. Are you? Where are you? Are you in the park?
Oh no, in the backyard.
Oh, backyard. Oh,
Oh,
cool.
it's very beautiful sunshine over there.
Oh yeah. Nice today.
Yeah.
What about Charles? Charles, would you have anything to share? Alex have given us a very, very good input that we need to ponder about, which a very good point. And Charles, would you like to share with us your thoughts about your thoughts? Yes, it's you.
I have no comments at this time. Very good presentation.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it. Very well organized.
Oh, thank you very much.
We have a Thai tea here. Yes.
Thank you very much. How about our friend from Assam, Anup? Can you turn on your mic? No, I don't think we can hear you. Oh, there's no sound.
Our friend from Toronto.
Okay, what about somebody else from Canada? I know we have one friend from Canada here.
Penny, would you like to share?
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi.
It's okay.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Or can you memorize the grand learning in
Oh,
Mandarin
yeah.
right now?
Hello.
Hello?
No.
Okay, no problem.
Anup, hello.
Hello.
Hi, we can hear you.
Sir, in my life experience, I find that when you open your heart and open your mind, then you get your vision. Because from my school time, I was fine.
Oh, okay. I think Anup, we kind of lost you. Anup, your Wi-Fi, or we can't quite hear you.
Sir, now
Hi,
it's okay.
Yes, okay.
So, sir, according to my life experience, when you clear your mind and your heart, then you get your vision, what you want. Because now I am at 53, but from my childhood, my father told me that we the type will have our own vision, own culture, and so. And he also told me that we have our own philosophy. From that time, I was searching for about our philosophy, but suddenly in an old textbook, I found that the TAO is our philosophy. From that day, I was searching for our Taoism. But at that time, there is no internet, there is no so and so. But now I am happy that because I had a vision regarding Taoism and when I will get it. But due to the kindness of our God and our Tao, now I am able to talk with you regarding Taoism. This is my feeling, sir.
I think it's incredible too. I mean, we're all over the world, and we share the same kind of idea. We're all about Tao, so it is quite amazing. Different time zones, different geographies, different everything. So it is amazing, especially in the last few years that we have this opportunity. Okay, Milan, would you like to share more?
Sir?
Sorry.
Yes, I just like to share with you my personal experience.
Yep. Go
I have
ahead.
two boys. At that time, when they are teenagers, 17 and 15. One day, my eldest son came home, argued with me about rights. I only gave him a coin. And I said, on top, the first image you saw is the rights. What is beneath? And he turned the thing to flip around. I said, that is responsibility and respect of your own duty. If you can do that, you have all the rights. Otherwise, you're going to deal with it. Deal with the life yourself by hitting against the wall. I did not say what he has to do. I only help him to recognize everything have upside, have a downside. Without downside, there's no upside. Even the paper have two sides.
Thank you very much, Awa. I like that metaphor. Definitely in life, sometimes there's obstacles, and sometimes if we don't have the will, we give up. But that's true. There's upsides and downsides. I really like that. We should show that to our kid. That's a good idea. Everybody can do that.
It's very wise.
Okay. Anybody else? Would anybody else like to share again, or what about lecturer David? Okay, David Wong is here.
Hello.
Hi, David.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
It's very nice to join the lecture and join the course. Just like the great learning, it's great. Just like Mother Teresa had ever said that most of us, we cannot do great things, but everyone, we can do small things with great love. The great learning is coming from many initial learning. That means small learning that will accumulate to be the great learning. Just like the first sentence of great learning, 大学 is the 明德, likes to enlighten our internal virtue and try to know how to improve ourselves. It's very tiny thoughts, just like what is our thoughts internally, and that will become our language, become our behavior, etc. And if we can cultivate ourselves well, then we can help people, and we can help our family, help our neighbors, etc., and make the world become a better place. Just like one friend from Thailand, Ali Josha. Sorry, I cannot spell well.
Alex, I think.
It's not copy to everyone. It's not copy. Everyone should be the same. No, it's not. Meaning the first sentence, like we honest ourselves and to be sincere to ourselves. Then we use the moral to help people. Just like what our originated the talent. When we see people suffering, we will feel a kind of feeling that we want to help. We want to help them. That's meaning also the first sentence. So I just would like to share with you the great love, the great learning come from the small things, come from the initial thoughts in our minds. And that is the first sentence of 大学. And that is also the most important sentence that we can learn, no matter where we are, in UK, in New York, in Thailand, in India, in UK, even in Taiwan. All of us, we can try to cultivate ourselves to do the small things with great love and become a great learning. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Okay, and I think we have some people here from Vietnam. I see one friend from Vietnam. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Okay, it's Khuyen. Hi. Do you want to share some? You turn on your mic first. You have to turn on your mic first.
Okay. Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. Thank Almighty God. Thank lecturer. Thank brothers and sisters. Thank everyone. And your lesson is very wonderful. I can learn a lot. Yeah. And
thank you.
Yeah, I really want to share something too, because it's because if you are people who watch a lot of video on YouTube, such as TikTok or something like that, the video from the successful people, and you can see everything you can learn from that. You're a guy who is a Confucian already taught it already. Yeah. You don't need to read 1,000 books. You don't need to watch 1,000 videos on YouTube, because Confucius taught it because yeah, Confucius taught it already too. Yeah, that's why our lesson today is very useful, and I learned from that a lot. Thank you. And one more thing I wanna say, because it's we learn from that, but we to put it outside. Yeah, it till nothing happened to your life. That's why we learn, and we have to put it inside ourselves. And it's very important because I did it too. Because a long time ago, when before reaching TAO, I'm very confident about myself. I thought that, oh, I knew a lot of things, and I always too. But after receiving TAO about 3 years, and my life changed a lot. Yeah, and when I believe TAO, and when I learned something simple from our teaching living Buddhas or Confucius or our sage and sages, and I can see my life changed. Yeah, look like I was born the second time in my life. Yeah, look like I will have another life. It's very, very different, and I can see everything around me by another look, very peaceful. Yeah, that's why I wanna share for everyone. Need to put it inside yourself. Yeah, try to do it. Try to look at yourself every moment, and then in order to do that, you need to believe in TAO. You need to believe in your way, the way you are going. Yeah, thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. You look very young, but you're very, very wise. So thank you very much for that sharing. Okay, so I think we're almost done. Okay, so we have a few more minutes. Does anybody else want to share?
If not, that I can post some Q&A session before we end the talk. Is it okay?
Yep, go ahead.
All right. Give me a second because I need to pull from another screen. Can I? No, sorry. This is the problem. Wait.
Derek, can I read a piece?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Definitely. Go ahead, please.
Okay, when the Clara is looking for
yeah,
the
sure.
物有本末，事有终始，知所先后，则近道矣. That means everything has the seed. You have to understand the relationship between seed and fruit, and you have to understand the cause and the result. Knowing the sequence, then you are close to the Tao.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you.
And I didn't mention that in this part, but that is a very important phrase also from the Great Learning. Thank you very much for bringing that up. Okay, and okay, so are we ready with the questions?
Can you see my screen?
Yep. Okay.
How many screens do you see? Is it one or two?
Just the one.
Okay, great. So that's correct. Sorry, I have 3 screens here. So okay, thank you. Everyone, this is the Q&A session. For all the class member, can you please put your answer in the chat box, please? The first question is that, what is the meaning of the rule number 2 in karate that Eric mentioned just now? A, defense only. 2, B, to give lesson. C, right your mind and heart. D, be a hero and help others. Answer, please. So you can put your answer in the chat box. All right, we have one answer. Thank you. Right. Your number 4, Meilan, number 4, is it, do you mean be a hero and help others? Or there could be many rules, but the rule number 2, we mentioned the rule number 2, just to check whether you listen to Derek's class, okay?
Rule number 2 is just the banner. There's 2 banners. And Mr. Miyagi says rule number 1 is karate is for self-defense. And then he says, and then in the movie he says rule number 2 is first learn rule number 1. So he doesn't actually tell rule number 2, but if you can read kanji or the characters, then you can know rule number 2. And rule number 2 is a line that originated in the Great Learning.
All right, thank you, everyone. I think you got the right answer. Right, your mind and heart. Thank you, bravo, everyone. So the question number 2, which of the following is not part of the 4 books of Confucianism? A. Mencius, B. Tao Te Ching, C. Analect, D. The Great Learning. Answer, please. I love this moment. Okay, we have 2 different answers now. Mencius, composed by Mencius, Mengzi. Tao Te Ching, composed by Laozi. Analect, composed by Confucian. The Great Learning, composed by Zhengzi. So, which of the following is not part of the books? It's only one answer, okay? It's only one book. One book here is not belongings or not part of the 4 books, okay?
Yes.
All right, we got the right answer here. The answer is Tao Te Ching, okay? Tao Te Ching, composed by Laozi, okay? Composed by Laozi, Taoist, okay? He is the ancient philosopher as well. So Mencius and like the Great Learning are part of the 4 books. Okay, great answer, everyone. Next question. Okay. The lovely goal of Confucius and his followers was to bring world of harmony through encourage people to read books, B, fostering of enlightening of virtue in the people, C, gathering in the coffee shops, D, attending seminars. So which of the following? Which one? Okay. And some people think that we can gather in the coffee shops or attend seminars. Okay, great. We have the right answer here, fostering of enlightening virtue in the people. Thank you, everyone. Well done. Okay, next question. Okay. Which of the following are emphasized in the world of harmony? 大同. A, all people respect and love their own parents, as well as the parents and children of others. B, adults are employed in jobs that make full use of their abilities. C, the aged are cared for until death. D, children are nourished, educated, and fostered. E, or all the above. Answer, please. Okay, more answer. Okay, is all the above. Okay, Next question. The meaning of filial piety. A. Respect between siblings and kindness for each other. B. Devotion to the family. C. Respect both parents. D. All love. Answer, please. Okay, D is the right answer. Thank you, everyone. Well done. Okay, this is very sure that everyone pay attention to direct lecture, the class, the sharing. Okay, next question. Which of the following is not mentioned in the world of harmony? 大同. A. Oh, sorry. I think. Okay. A. Sincere intentions. B. Proper governance and order. C. Family unity. D. Self-refinement. E. Right heart and mind. F. Being smart. G. Expand knowledge and understanding. H. 格物. Answer, please. Well, this answer is very quick for everyone. Well done. That means that you really, really pay attention. Okay, we have one last question. Anyone want to answer? Okay. Yeah, the right answer is being smart. Okay. Last question. Okay, last question. Which of the following should avoided in dancery? A. Refuse. B. Dispose. C. Separate. D. Collecting. Answer, please. Well done, everyone. The answer is collecting. Dancery done is refuse, dispose, and separate. I try to do this in the daily life as well. I think it's very, very useful, and sometimes it's a bit difficult, especially you need to review something and then you need to dispose what you have currently at home or something like that. But after you have done this, and then you will have a really new environment, a new world. So this is very, very, I think it's a good practice to share with everyone. Thank you, everyone. My Q&A session is until here. And I think everyone is doing well. Great listening to the class. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. I think that's it for today's DAO talk.
So before we go back, we turn on the camera and have a group photos together.
Group photo time.
Yeah. Okay, so please turn on your camera and then we can have a group photos together. Okay, first session, okay? 3, 2, 1, cheese. Okay, just a second. Sorry. There is yours. My computer is. Okay, another one. Okay, 3, 2, 1, cheese.
Cheese.
Okay. Okay, so now we can finish the class today. And then if anyone wants to stay and then talk more is fine. So thank you everyone for joining today.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Inky.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.